Okay, I decided to have him holding a thing. I don't know what the thing is. Probably some type of weapon. Given the setting. Um, Style, yeah. Melee weaponry would definitely be a thing for here. Obviously, being in flavor with the character, it would be something generated by his armor for him to hold. So it'd be, a piece of BioWare. I don't sue me, please, BioWare. A piece of biotech. So welcome back, everyone. This is episode. It's episode 325. It's somewhere in there. I don't really see myself doing this for five whole episodes, 5 whole days. So, at some point I'm going to have to stop and either start something new recording or just do a lot of this off camera now. I mean, I find it kind of relaxing to be able to talk and draw at the same time, with maybe someone listening, with like a person listening. So, yeah, it's actually. I mean, this is going to sound kind of psychotic, but when I'm alone, I actually do say things to myself. And I actually get a lot out of it, surprisingly enough. Some people call that being crazy. I call that being me. I didn't have a good. I obviously didn't have a good jingle pulled up there, or I would have had some sort of jingle for me spouting that like fortune cookie wisdom. Now, the thing in his hands, we're going to do a little design work on it that isn't necessarily associated with his armor shapes. And we've got the repeating carapace looking thing here for the pommel. And like a jewelish thing right here. Really, it's all about just completely just bullshitting as I go along with it as to what this thing really is. Yeah, I didn't like the open hand look. The open hand I had before. It really didn't look. He looked like he was doing like a mafioso hand gesture, just hey, what you gotta do, type of thing. And I really didn't want that as the hand, the other hand. His lower hand is probably going to have some sort of other melee implement, but it's going to be hand. See, I don't know if I'm going to record actually drawing the next part of this, but his being how am I going to put this? Having bio armor as his thing, having this piece of biotech that he's always wearing, as his thing, comes with the obvious thing you would think of when I say biotech, a biotech, adjustment to a person's body, and that is, of course, tentacles. Now, they aren't that type of tentacles. Get your mind out of the gutter. This isn't that type of channel yet. What I'm thinking is, what I know they are, is there would be, just additional limbs for him to have, more or less, to help him, manipulate things. To me, it seemed if you have the mental ability to run a type of bio armor, then you've obviously got the mental ability to have a few extra limbs and have it not be, super detrimental to you as a person. So yeah, I can definitely see him I can definitely see, a bio character wearing a bio armor with, tentacles. So I was gonna have his own armor handing him the thing in his other hand. See, I don't know what it's gonna be over here yet, but I do know it's gonna be a thing. I just don't know what the thing is gonna be. So immediately we gotta lighten up this hand entirely. Because it's just harsh black outlines right now. One of the things I kind of put together in college as an ideal to shoot for is be able to draw hands and feet. Because when you draw hands and feet, and their little intricacies and parts, you can pretty much draw anything else a lot easier. Like learning to draw hands and feet, it is kind of a linchpin thing to be able to do. I mean, I obviously wish I drew everything I drew better, and he's obviously got like a pseudo armored glove on, so like it's not going to be exactly his hand, and it's not going to be exactly human. I mean, it's going to be very human, but still, it's going to be, the bio armor look to it. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's a real like yeah, that's a skill to have for drawing and painting and whatever. I say drawing, I mean artwork. It's just for me, I've almost always, like my entire life, I've been drawing, and I consider it drawing. Like even when I paint, it's in my head, it's drawing. Now I actually don't like the way that looks. I am my own worst critic. I will come out and say I absolutely will be super critical of myself through all of this. I don't know why or how that developed as a thing. It just did. So I'm gonna be super critical of myself during this entire ordeal. This entire recording, I'm gonna be just absolutely wailing on myself critically. I think it harkens back to that thing I mentioned in I think it was the previous episode. I should just say I mentioned earlier, which was, people giving critiques on subjective concepts. And one of the things I always just really wanted was objective critiques, where you'd get like technical, basically technical commentary on what's going on. And it's like, yeah, on some level there's intention, where it's like, oh, I intend something to be, distorted or out of place. But on some level it's like yeah, his fingers are giant. On some level you kind of gotta you gotta receive just something that's like, here's a thing that can really help you, James. Try this. And then you try it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But like, I always wanted critiques like that, and a lot of things just came down to, James, you got to stop drawing this. And it's like that's not helping me at all. It's a hindrance, like I mentioned before. You might as well just say don't draw, or don't be an artist. Don't be a creative. So we're gonna do. I had intended to do this on the face, but we're just gonna go ahead and do it right now. We're popping open the Liquify tool. Now Liquify in Photoshop. This is what I would call the magazine model tool, because it's such a like super powerful thing. It is absolutely one of the most powerful tools you have, even if you're doing painting in Photoshop, because just with a few tweaks, it's like, all of a sudden what was once a problem is now fixed. And it's like with just a few tweaks, we got that hand looking just a little bit better. It's like it was kind of sausagey before, and we kind of thinned it down, moved things around a little. We made this look more properly in shape, with what it really would be. Like, these are curving correctly to me in my eyes now. I still don't like having the knuckles on there, but I think I'm gonna have to suck it up and deal with it. But yeah, I do really, like, I would really want objective critiques, and I would hardly ever get them. It would either be, dead silence, or either through shyness, or like not wanting to comment, or nice, or trying to be nice. But it's like, even if it's a bad critique, I would still want a critique, in all honesty. I mean, yeah, obviously, like, some things are subjective, and you just can't change some things about some people. But, God, even the handle looks terrible. Yeah, I really am not liking... I'm not actually liking this hand at all, but I think I'm going to have to live with it for the time being. Oops. Yeah, so there's sort of this idea of you don't want to hurt someone's feelings, and I understand that, and I do understand being nice, and I would actually prefer people to be nice, even to me right now on the internet, blabbering like an idiot. I wouldn't mind, a little civility. I'm not saying people are gonna be jerks about this, but a little civility goes a long way. And yeah, obviously there's subjectiveness in art, but like just little critiques about technical issues are always helpful. Like, oh, you should try, shading this certain way, or oh, you missed this. You like a big one would be like, oh, you in this corner you missed this object, or you missed this. Like you drew this wrong, and it's like it's like pointing out inaccuracies is absolutely fine, and that's the kind of critique I would love to get, like, more often than anything else. Yeah, I think I have to hide the knuckle. Like, I don't know exactly what I'm gonna be doing with this hand, and I think I'm gonna be I'm gonna really try to change it a lot. No, I don't actually like that either. Maybe I should just sit here and noodle for a bit, and then we'll get it. But yeah, there's sort of like this idea of, I don't want to say not critiquing an artist for their feelings, but it's like I've encountered this just about as much as I've encountered things like, oh, it'll be, this will be a great experience for you. It'll go great in your portfolio. The other one I encounter a lot is, now I had some changes, if that's okay. And it's like, yeah, it's totally okay. I've been expecting this forever. Or it's like people not wanting to hurt, like, oh, we want to make some changes, but, it's fine what you did. It's good what you did. We like what you did, but we want to maybe make some changes if it's okay. And it's like, yes, it's absolutely okay with me. Please tell me, inform me what I need to do. I'm actually like that with my gaming channel. It's like, I would really, really love comments on ways I can do that better. Because most of that, and actually most of this, even though this is basically night one of me doing this, like, a lot of it is, like, I have to figure it out myself. And it's probably going to be that this entire time. It's just me sitting here and working and talking, and it's going to fall into place, and I'll get better at it. Because, there's no substitute for experience. But at the same time, there's this, like, tips here and there could be really, really helpful. And yeah, the hand's sort of falling into place now for me. It wasn't really working until like just now. Like, oh, okay, now this is kind of coming together a bit more. Now, if I were doing this in color, I say a lot too. I'm well aware that I'm going to be saying a whole lot with this. If I were doing this in color, I would actually consider shading all of this in super dark. Like, I would really well, it depends on what environment, if any, I'm going to be putting this character in. Because I think I'd have a very, very heavy light source on this side, and it would be a very different light source from what would be coming in from the front. So I think I'm going to take this and actually put heavier light on this side. Like it's like he's next to some sort of like neon sign or something. I mean, I know I'm not representing any sort of color on that with the gray, but I would I'm considering this sort of like this is the side where things get really harsh on the lighting. Because just artistically speaking, I'd want to do something a little bit like that on this side, where it's like there's a harsher light to his right, and thus that makes the shadows harsher. But still, we'd have a lot of we'd still have the light coming in from our main light source. It's also weird on this because I'm making this sort of it's flat and then it's rounded right here, so it's like so that's actually kind of a weird interaction there on those shadows. And I think I'd have the handle just be black. That's just for the sake of ease right now. I generally don't worry that much about something way on the edge, because if this were getting printed, it would get cut off. Not that this warrants being printed on paper, but still. All right. I could probably do some tweaking on that side, but I think it's gonna have to be declared done for the time being. And actually, we can come up here. If we have a harsh light on that side, his ear's getting it. His hair would get it as well. So we can actually do some tweaking on this ear now. So if it comes up, it would hit right about here. His ear's probably going to look really flat regardless of what I do. Flat, fake. It happens with elf ears sometimes. Oops. You know, right about now I'd be anticipating watching The Daily Show. But it's Monday. It's August 10th. And for me, it's probably going to be middle of the week by the time I post this. And it's really sad having Jon Stewart gone. When he started The Daily Show, I think it was 17 years ago. To put that in perspective, that's about half my age. I'm 31, so that would be, you know, that's a little over half my age. That's like 34. If it were half, I'd be 34. But yeah, it's a little over half. So it's like half my life. There's been this show that's been on at 11. And yeah, the show is technically still on, but I can't see myself watching it without Jon Stewart there. I know that sounds, I'm sure Trevor, whatever his last name is is gonna do fine, but I just like it's the end. It's the end of the era for me because there's no Stewart, no Colbert, and it's like it's really just it's sad, but it's also sort of an interesting time. But it's sad. It's sad to see Jon Stewart gone. Like I remember when he first took. I don't remember a lot of details because I was watching like other TV mixed in with the Daily Show at the time. Mostly, and this is really gonna be like like an aging moment. Tech TV, as in what became G4 and what became canceled. Uh, Back when it actually was Tech TV, just after I think it was called Ziff Davis Network. Um, like I was watching that heavily at the time. So yeah, Tech TV was a big thing for me. And actually, I wouldn't mind listening to some Leo Laporte podcast right now. But yeah, that's definitely a time. Like around that time, I was watching a lot of Tech TV as well. Sort of going back and forth between the two. But it's like yeah, Jon Stewart basically shaped part of my politics, and it sounds it sounds really wrong when you say a person shaped your politics, but really your politics get shaped by everything, and your everything gets shaped by your everything. Art, your interests. I mean, I think music is the only thing I think of as it's uniquely something that's yours. And I mean, like my taste in art, it has been shaped by who I am. My taste in art and my taste in food, maybe. But yeah, just my taste in art. It's been shaped by who I am, and my politics. Other people with good ideas, you tend to pull those good ideas, and the biggest one for Jon Stewart is the system is absurd, and you kind of got to live with the absurdity. But the other big one is, watch out for bullshitters, and I'm absolutely gonna miss a show because of the big anti-bullshit message he had. Oh, and sure Fox News is celebrating right now. And it's like even if you don't agree with being like if you're a liberal or conservative, even if you don't agree with them on those points, you can agree with them on the pervasiveness of bullshit and how you have to look for it and how you have to watch for it and how you have to just be aware that it exists and that some people will profit and propagate with bullshit. But yeah, I am gonna miss the Daily Show. I mean, I miss the Colbert Report, and it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what Stephen Colbert does with late night. Whether or not he will actually reinvent late night, it's totally up in the air. I actually think late night could use a good swift kick in the nuts to get it like. Man, this conversation's gone into a weird spot, but to get late night talk shows like interesting again. Yep, I missed that. I missed that hour of television. I officially have 0 things to watch on TV now. So much stuff is just available on the internet. It's almost pointless to have a TV subscription now. So like I said before, I am not going to put a lot of detail into his legs because this isn't where your eye should really be looking. So I'm going to do some cursory shapes for the armor that's down here. And like I said, it's still going to follow that sort of pseudo musculature that the armor has. It's just it's not. I'm just not going to put a ton of detail into it. Since I'm down here, I would definitely say it's an easy open crotch piece. For various reasons. If you're adult, you can handle it. If you're not an adult, you're probably not interested in what. Well, maybe you are interested. But yeah, it's like you're adults, you can handle this. Even if you're not an adult, you can handle this. You can handle the concept of easy open crotch piece. Yep, we just gotta maybe tap some light into this part. Also, I had to remind myself, I don't need this protruding like a cod piece. So it doesn't need to be like 18th century gentleman. But, well, probably earlier than 18th century. Like 16th century, 15th century gentleman. He doesn't look like he needs to be smuggling like oranges. Oranges in the crotch piece. Picking out little bits of places where light would possibly hit from, like I mentioned, the sort of harsher light that's up here. So it would come and hit like maybe here a bit. It obviously wouldn't hit down here as much as as bright as it would up there. And we'll maybe just like flex some of that in there. Okay, we're getting things close to done. Like I mentioned, his head's really big, and I kind of want to elongate his torso a bit. Maybe fix the hair that's behind him. And I may put highlights on the hair, though I don't really think it's necessary. And in this hand, I'm actually gonna make this his open hand. And he's gonna have, I think he's gonna have like a tentacle, like handing him a thing, like handing him a sword or something. And then I'll slap a background in the background, and I think this will be done. Now, I'm not actually gonna record any of that. That's the game plan, though. What the hell? Okay. Oh, I can do one last thing though, to quickly. I know we're like way into this for me to be sharing this now, but some quick and easy Photoshop shortcuts, and then I'll be done. The biggest one is brackets, open and close your tool, and that's where I generally keep my fingers because I move the brush's sizes around a lot, and And it's just really helpful to have that under your fingertips. And it's something I always have under my fingertips. The other big ones are, of course, Control Plus and Control Minus. They're your zoom in and zoom out. Control J duplicates a layer. Control Shift N is a new layer. Alt and the brackets cycle you through your layers. Control and your brackets move the layers up and down. And if you do Control Alt and a key, it'll give you a different blend, or no, Shift Alt and a key, you'll get a different blending mode. In this case, it's turning my brush from normal to multiply. But you can see this if you do, like, that's multiplying on that layer, and then like color dodge or overlay, and you see a lot more of that working with colors than you do in black and white. And then lastly, like, B is your brush tool, V is your movement tool. D defaults the colors to black and white, which I don't use a lot because D is way away from the brackets, so I will just go and grab things on that. But those are my like big Photoshop shortcuts. I think, isn't Liquify under Control Shift X? Okay, that's not intuitive. But I also have it set up so that F1 is flip horizontal, which is taking a second. F2 is flip vertical, because when you start flipping things, you can start, like I said, to notice little tweaks and mistakes and stuff. I don't use it as much anymore because it also is kind of a crutch. But those are custom keybinds I have. I think they're the only two I have right now. And then I also think F6 I think I have set up to just flip a certain to just flip the layer. And I think F5 is your brush tool by default. No. Yes. So those are some common Photoshop shortcuts for efficienting up your life. Oh, and Control E merges down, and Control Alt Shift E flattens everything. And I believe on a new layer, if you do, is it Control Alt Shift E? Control Alt Shift E on a layer merges all the layers to that layer. And then Control E merges down. Stamp visible is what it's called for Control Alt Shift E. That's a really handy one if you're wanting, like, for when I liquefied this in the end to make his head, higher up, higher up, and let's just get the brush tool loose. When I want to liquefy his head to bring it up off his shoulders, shrink it down. Did I change my brush accidentally? I think I changed my brush accidentally. Oh no, it's on a different layer. Whoops. Yeah, so when I go to liquefy this and I shrink his head down and then lift his head up and then do the little tweaks everywhere, I am going to stamp it all into one layer, and then we can go filter liquefy, and it'll take a sec to open it up, but that'll open everything in the actual liquefy tooltip. Oh no, I just realized that this has black bars on the sides because of the shape of my and Photoshop froze. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it'll bring up the liquefy tool, and then I can, take and just do all my liquefying I need to do on this when I get to doing it. And I just realized I have black bars on the sides. Probably should have put something up to cover those. Oh well. It's because I'm using a Cintiq and it's a weird ratio. It's not 16:9. Oh well. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. I hope I'm doing fine as a Photoshopper, pseudo Photoshop teacher, pseudo art teacher, and with my waxing philosophical about things. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.